I'm Shimelle Laine, and welcome to another Sketch to Scrapbook page. Today's sketch is designed for 3 photos, but I'm going to start straight away with 2 square photos rather than 3 landscape images. And the sketch starts with some mist on the background, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. I think this page is going to come together really quickly because this sketch is pretty simple, and I'm using 2 pieces of paper that are already just half sheets, and I think they're going to be just enough to pull this sketch together. So I'm starting with the pink background, and because there's quite a lot of brown in my photos from the table behind the cakes in the picture, I'm going to use brown mist for these droplets and a big paintbrush with a round brush so that I can do a few big droplets on this diagonal line. Everything is going to be stacked here in the center, so it's really this corner and this corner that I want to have a little bit inky. I have 3 blocks of pattern paper. It's actually just 2 sheets, but this one has both sides are patterns that will go well with this mix. So I have the largest box in the contrasting color, so then I'm going to have that break in the pattern between the pink and the other pinks. So that'll give me a nice bit of color contrast. So that one's going to go at the back. And I know there's this big piece where I cut out some words for another layout, but that's not going to matter because I'm going to cover it up with these other 2 pieces of pattern paper. So it doesn't matter too much about where these go. The only thing that's important here is that my title is going to go along this side. So I just want to make sure that's in a good spot for spelling that out. And then the other pattern on the other side. And I could go ahead and make this horizontal, but because I'm using those 2 square photos, I think I will stay with the vertical. And then my 2 square photos will go right in the center widthwise and a little bit above center in terms of height. So they catch your eye at the top of the page. Plus, it's nice to be able to line it up here with the wording in the pattern paper. So that all goes together really quickly. And now I can go ahead and spell my title here. I'm going to use some cream thickers for that. And just spell it out starting here and working up to the top, or I could start here and work back down, but I'm going to start at the bottom, and then whatever empty space ends up is okay to have empty space up here at the top because that spot is already filled with those droplets of ink. My title fits on this side and my journaling all down the side here. It does take up a little bit more room than what's on the sketch, but that worked fine. And then I've added the date with some turquoise numbers down here. I didn't have a color that would match this pattern paper exactly, so I chose a color of sticker that was closest to the same color in a different shade, where this looks like a more concentrated color and a more concentrated shade of this color. So I'm hoping that will work. And now it's time to go to these 3 embellishments. I'm trying to stick within my July kit of supplies, and for that I have these die-cut pieces from October Afternoon, and there are 3 of them that include pink in the design. So I'm going to see if that will work. I have a circle, an arrow with a little heart, and a tab. And the placement on the sketch is 1 up here in this corner, 1 over here, which would have to be this one because of the pointing in the right direction. Pretty sure. Yeah. And 1 down here in this corner. So I'm thinking the photo tab over here, a little file tab, and I think I prefer this one under the photo rather than over because I've already overlapped something there. And then that would leave this one up here. And what I'm thinking is, since I have more space in this block of pattern paper than in the original sketch, is that it would be great to have some sort of element here that kind of had, I don't want it to go all the way from this piece to this one, but something that would feel connected to this embellishment here. So maybe a little stamped phrase that could just run on the vertical there. Stamp wise, I have this option and this roller within this kit. I actually kind of like the idea of using the hello friend as if the cake were a friend, because some days the cake is the friend. So I think that's what I will go with, and it would be useful if I do the stamping first so that I don't totally mess up and get ink all over that die cut. And I think best to stick with brown ink for the stamping, since that's what I used for the mist. And I'll keep the lettering going the same direction as with the title. And then I can pop that die cut over the top with some pop dots. This one on pop dots as well. And then this one I like flat, but maybe I'll put something on top of this here to give it a bit of dimension too. For the last finishing touches, I used two different sized heart punches with the little scraps of paper left over from these papers, because there's already this little heart shape on this tab, so it seemed like that would be something I could add to these spaces and have them all coordinate in some way. So the larger heart with the larger space, and then the smaller heart here on the file tab. And there's still a little bit of open room here, and I was noticing with the thickers that I use for the title, there's also the 2 stars. Now, it does annoy me sometimes when they include 2 and not 3, because I would prefer 3 so I could have one in each cluster of embellishments, but I will work with 2 if that's what I have. So I'm thinking 1 on that side, and then the decision to make is whether this one should go on this little tab here, or if it should come up to the top with this piece over here. And I'm thinking with this one. Just right there in the middle. So now I'm wishing I had something here, but I'm wondering maybe I can do another one of these small hearts, because I have a little bit more of this left over. And there's an arrow on that pattern paper, so I just put the arrow inside the heart so that it points in the right direction toward the photos. A little brown ink to make it match everything else, and a tiny little... Oh, actually, because I've added a pop dot to this one, I think I'll add this one flat to the die cut and not use a pop dot. Just have those 2 hearts there on the same circle. So here's the sketch that I started with, and then this is my finished version of this page. You can pop over to Shimelle.com and see the printable sketch, so you can save this and print it and be able to use it on any layout that you want to give it a try, and also a second interpretation from the same sketch by one of our guest artists. So I hope you'll take a look. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.